Hello, Bosman family. So I just wanted to jump on real quick and talk to you a little bit about what I've read. I don't know if you've heard of this book before, but wait for it. Wait for it. Oh, training camp. Yay! So I promise I'm not going to go completely in depth, and I know that we have people scheduled to review over this book and go over it with us. I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder, but there is a chapter that just spoke to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to talk to them about this chapter. I've read the book, I've reread the book, and so basically, Martin gets a text from his coach, and his coach this is chapter 27, okay? I'm skipping a little ahead, but he gets a message from his coach, and basically says, hey, I need you to meet me at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. And, he's like, what, coach? Like, the Roosters don't even get up before then. And he's like, no, really, I need you to meet me at 5 o'clock. And so, of course, when your coach says that, you meet him at 5 o'clock in the morning, right? So he gets there, and he gets in his coach's truck, and his coach drives him like 30 minutes. And basically, they end up at a fishing spot. And Martin has never fished before. He even makes a joke and says that the only fishing he's ever done has been in his bathtub, which I thought was kind of funny. And so he says, basically Martin wasn't in the mood for any rules, especially at 5:30 in the morning, because his coach is all about rules, right? But he acted like he was interested. First, positive people catch more fish. Stay positive, Coach Ken said. Second, seize the moment. When the fish bites, that's when you have to be ready. With fishing, you spend most of your time baiting and waiting, and only a brief moment actually catching the fish. When the moment happens, you must be ready. A lot like sports. And the third and final rule, don't leave fish to find fish, right? So Martin says, that's it, coach? Like, that's all you have? And he's like, yep, that's it. That's all I got, right? So they're talking, and Coach Martin says, hey, like, what are you afraid of? Exactly what I'm saying, Coach answered. What do you fear? Nothing, Martin said as he shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Come on, Martin. Everybody has fears. Everyone is scared of something. The best all have fear, but they overcome it. They conquer it. They succeed in spite of it. So what are you afraid of? I'm not sure, said Martin. I haven't really thought about it. Well, you need to think about it, Coach countered. To overcome your fear, you have to know what you are up against. To beat your enemy, you must know your enemy. Average people shy away from their fears. They either ignore them or hide them. However, the best seek them out and face them with the intent of conquering them. So I'm going to ask you again, Martin, what are you afraid of? Martin still wasn't sure what to say. He knew he was scared of his mother dying, but he didn't want to tell anyone. Other than that, he couldn't think of what he was afraid of besides his ankle not being full strength. I'm scared of my ankle not healing, he said, hoping to give Coach Ken something so he would move to another subject. But Coach Ken wasn't about to take the bait. Oh, come on, Martin. You have to give me more than that. Life's too short to live superficially. If you want to be the best, it's got to go deeper, and it starts uncovering and exposing your fears. So I'm going to ask you again, what are you afraid of? Martin felt the knot once again in his chest and in his stomach. He didn't want to say it. He didn't want to tell anyone. Doing so would make it more real than he wanted to, but he had to give Coach something. My mama, Martin said. She's sick, has a bad heart, needs surgery that I don't have the money to pay for yet, and I'm afraid of her dying. There, I said it, he admitted. Martin shook his head as tears welled up in his eyes. Coach acted like he didn't know, but he did know. It was their job as coaches to know as much about their players, their families, and their histories as possible. He felt horrible that such a young man had to carry such a heavy responsibility and burden, but he also knew that everyone carries a burden with them throughout life. I'm sorry about your mother, Coach said as he put his hand on Martin's shoulder. Yeah, me too, Martin said. Is there anything I can do, Coach asked. Give her a heart, give her a new heart, Martin wanted to say, but he knew that was his job. He couldn't put that on anyone else, so he just said, no, I got it covered. And what bigger fear does this bring up for you? Coach Ken asked, knowing that there was still yet a bigger fear that Martin needed to realize and confront. He knew that there were fears and that there were really big fears. Unfortunately, Martin wasn't ready to go there. He hit a wall, shut down, and said, I don't know, Coach. That's okay, Coach said. We've made some progress, but remember, if you want to be the best, you have to know what you're up against. Not just one fear, not just your smallest fear, but your biggest fear. And then you must overcome all of them. That's the seventh trait of the best of the best. You have to overcome your fear. So I read this to you today, right? Because we all have fears, and I think as educators, especially second semester of any school year, it's like our fears almost raise, right? It's like, okay, so like, what if I can't get them there in time, right? Like these oh my gosh, these responses that these kids have to write for the reading test. And, it's like, but I just gave them an exit ticket in math and they didn't do great on it. And, I tried this new seating arrangement and it was awful, right? And so we have all these fears that we're not going to be enough, or we're not going to do enough, or we're not going to, the kids won't be successful. And so sometimes what happens is all of these fears stifle us, and we can't be our best, right? We can't do our best because we're so overcome with this fear. And, my challenge for you is just do it, right? I mean, what's the worst case scenario, right? You give the exit ticket, they don't do well on it. You look at it, they do better the next time, right? You figure out what went wrong with it, You have them do that constructive response, right? And they get a 0, okay? Or they get a 1, right? Because it's really hard, but you just keep doing what you do with kids, which is really good work. I said to someone today, I said, here's the deal. It won't be because we didn't give it our all. We are going to give it our all. We're going to do all the things. We're going to be the very best teachers at Bosman because that's who we are, and the best coaches and the best admin and the best leadership team. And we are going to do all the things. And you know what? When they take that test on that day, oh man, we're going to know that we gave it our all, right? And at the end of the day, it's so much bigger than a test, right? Like we get 180 days with these kids every single year. And really, I just want them to leave us better humans than they were, right? Of course, I want them to grow and do well in their academics and on STAR, but I want them to walk out of this place and say, man, I love that school and I love my teachers and I just love it. Bosman is amazing, right? Because remember, I want to break something to you. I want to break some news to you, okay? They may not remember what you taught them. They may not. They may not remember that exit ticket. I'm going to tell you right now, they're not going to remember the exit ticket, okay? They're not going to remember integers or inferencing or, they might remember how like the energy works and everything after y'all teach them that song, right? But what they're really going to remember is how you made them feel and how much you cared about them and loved them and poured into them. That's what they're going to remember, right? But I do want to say, go ahead and tackle one of those fears, I'll tell you something very personal, all right? I want to start my doctorate. I really want to start it. I have the application. It is there. I am ready. We are willing to do this as a family. I am not a good writer. I really believe that about myself. I can do videos all day. I can stand up in front of people, but I really doubt myself as a writer. And I'm like, I know that there's a lot of writing when you start to get your doctorate. But guess what? If you want your doctorate, you got to face that fear. You got to do it, okay? Because, what's the worst case scenario? You don't do good on a paper. Maybe I get a bad grade. Hopefully, overall, my grade for that class will be okay, right? But if I don't tackle the fear of, and let me tell you what the fear is, it's not writing the essay. The fear is failure because I've never really failed at anything that I've really put my heart into. And that is what is stopping me from signing up and from getting my doctorate is the fear of failure. The perfectionist Amber, right? But I'm going to work on that. And I'm going to take it a day at a time, just like you are. But I wanted to share that chapter with you. I wanted to share that rule with you that Coach can share it. And I wanted to challenge you to be brave, get over that fear, just do it, right? And even if it has nothing to do with education, do it in your personal life, right? Tackle that fear. And I know that you'll do a great job. So this was a long video, I know, but the trivia is if you can repeat the following word, it's ancillary. If you were in Mr. Rowland's presentation, you know that he learned that new word. So if you type back in an email the word ancillary and you are numbered lucky 13, you're going to win a prize. Go Broncos!